evening and welcome to the 6th grade Mountain Brook Athletics Super Bowl. Alongside Brad Avery, I'm Josh Wright. We're going to be with you for this highly anticipated matchup. A matchup between the Vikings and the Seahawks. Number 1 versus number 2. Power versus speed. Undefeated versus heart, want, and desire. Even purple versus blue. A matchup of the year and a matchup for the ages. One of these great games that we've been waiting for, highly anticipated all year. Brad, how lucky are we to be here at Spartan Arena tonight at the home of the Spartans playing this incredible game?
Josh, this is just going to be an incredible matchup. Beautiful weather out here. It's probably 50 degrees and dropping. This is what football is made for.
This is the way a season ends right here with this weather on this field. It's what these boys have been working for all year long. Two teams we're finally down to be in this championship game, the Vikings versus the Seahawks. Let's talk just for a minute about the coaches. First, the Vikings coaches. Let's talk just a little bit about how great they have been with these boys this year.
Well, Josh, you're talking about a coaching crew made up of Chuck Bowers and Douglas Grant, 13 years experience. They have been to 9 Super Bowls, and since that 9 Super Bowls, 6 in a row. I think that pretty much speaks for itself.
That's close to 70% going to the Super Bowl, my friend. That's a good gig right there.
And as you and I know, that is hard to do. They are true teachers of the game. Fundamentals are everything with this team. They take a little bit and make it something.
Let's talk just for a minute about, before we get to the PA announcer to announce the players, let's talk about the Seahawks coaches.
Seahawks are made up of Don Gambrell, Morgan Ogilvy, which has got a lineage of obviously offensive masterminds, Will Bromberg, and Peyton Falkenberg. All 4 played at Mountain Brook, graduated in 2008, so they kind of know what each other are thinking right now. 5th year coaching in the 2nd season with these boys, the 2nd consecutive Super Bowl. So we are looking at 2 very experienced coaching regimens, and I am just really looking forward to this game.
It's going to be a great game. We're going to hand it over to the PA announcer right now to announce the players before they run through the banner. We'll be back with you.
Your attention to the right end zone. We will go through the player introductions for tonight's game. Starting with the visiting Seahawks. Number 1, Henry McKenzie. Number 4, Trey Benson. Number 8, Rivers Young. Number 10, Travis Pankey. Number 11, Porter Perry. Number 27, Caden Hoffbauer. Number 30, Thomas Langley. Tell me to slow it down. Number 44, Rushton Doster. Number 59, Tate Davis. Number 75, Hooker Cook. And number 80, Crawford Eubanks. Now the home team Vikings. Number 5, Drake DeMedicis. Number 7, Hayes Wendell. Number 9, Nolan Beck. Number 11, Topper Lacey. Number 12, Matthew McCain. Number 14, Gaines Drew. Number 19, Paul Rich. Number 20, David Estes. Number 23, William Norton. Number 27, James Caskey. Number 56, Boyd Cooper. And number 65, Henry Short.
Well, you heard the announcements right there. That was Chris Branch, one of the coaches of the teams this year, the Raiders, who had an outstanding season. Super happy to have him here as the PA announcer. You're going to see these teams come out right now of their various banners. All the work and effort that's been put in has just been unbelievable by the parents. Let's talk just for a minute, if we can, Brad, a little bit about the keys to this matchup, because I know you've studied this thing and got ready for it.
Well, Josh, it's two just very dynamic offenses that you're looking at, power and speed on both sides of the ball. The Vikings typically will run a three-set backfield. They'll direct snap, and as we know, or everybody that's played in this league against Chuck and Douglas, they form the wedge. And the minute they attack it up the middle, and you think you kind of figured that out, they'll bounce it to the outside. They're very disciplined and physical, and that's going to be a huge, huge key to winning this football game, is establish that wedge and running the sound defense. The Seahawks, on the other hand, run a lot out of the pistol formation. The first games of the playoff, they came out in a trips formation, and that is something we have not seen out of this team all year. So really looking forward to seeing what they're going to be running. I would not be surprised if it's totally something different. But they're going to have to contain that wedge and watch that outside run. They are going to have to implement their speed, because as we know, Caden Hoffbauer can really break one, and the big plays is where they've been winning a lot of these football games.
You know, one of the other keys to the game, Brad, those are great. One of the other keys to the game is win the turnover margin. Turnovers in this league can put you behind the chains very, very quickly, and it can put you at a disadvantage. So winning the turnover margin is going to be really important in this. We see as we get started here the two teams lining up for the coin flip. We've got out there Porter Perry, Caden Hoffbauer, and Tate Davis for the Seahawks. We've also got out there Topper Lacey, Gaines Drew, and Nolan Beck for the Vikings. What an exciting game to be a part of.
And this will be interesting to see who wins the snap and if they take the ball or not.
You know, I've watched a lot of these Super Bowls. It's pretty impressive that the Vikings offense has been so effective this year. I've been really impressed with their ability to consistently move the chains and put teams at a disadvantage from a defensive perspective if you can't stop them from moving the chains.
You truly can't, and that's the frustrating part. And, these boys get kind of down in the second half, but Seahawks are going to have to keep their head in it to win this football game and not get frustrated, because it is truly a hard offense to defend.
You know, one of the interesting things is ultimately as the season wrapped up, the Seahawks ended up being the number 2 seed and the Vikings are the number 1. So we truly do have a number 1 versus number 2 right here.
It is, and there is some very, very good talent on both sides of the ball here.
All right, it looks like the Seahawks are going to get the ball first. The Vikings on defense. I expect the Seahawks to try and get that edge as early as they can around the ends with their running arsenal that they've got. They've got such incredible backs and have all year who have speed, power, and aggressiveness, and it should be a really, really interesting matchup here today to watch.
That's right. So they're going to come out with Trey Vincent on the wing, Caden Hoffbauer taking snap. Up the middle, Seahawks up the middle for 6.
That is a great, great first run right there. Outstanding.
That's Rivers Young.
You know, and Rivers has been a very explosive back, a guy they've been able to go to on top of Caden and a couple of the other guys, Trey Vincent included. They've been able to really run a bunch of these different guys. Really nice tackle right there by the Vikings to prevent that from being a gigantic gain.
Yeah, he broke through that line, and that's going to be huge for tonight. Hoffbauer takes the snap around the left end, still up on his feet past the 50. Here he goes, Josh. He's gone. Second play from the line of scrimmage.
Unbelievable run. Topper Lacey had an opportunity, and Aiden Caskey also had him around the legs. It looked like they were going to be able to pull him down. But Caden is not only fast, He is powerful, and he ran aggressively and almost ran angry right there to get to that end zone. It's a great start for the Seahawks.
And that goes back to the keys of the game, what we were talking about. They've got to implement their speed and plan of attack, and that was a perfect example of that.
You know, it's a little uncharacteristic of the Vikings, but it's early in the game. The Vikings traditionally have been very good defensively tackling. They are missing some big components. One of the biggest components that they've lost this year has been kind of one of their rocks, and one of their guys, Boyd Cooper, who unfortunately is going to be out with an injury. Boyd is a tremendous part of this team, and he's helped them get to where they are. But they're going to miss him defensively tonight without question, blowing up the backfield.
That's right, and that was Hoffbauer around the left. The extra point was no good.
You know, the Vikings, as they line up for their offense, they're not used to playing from behind, but something tells me that because they're so well coached and so disciplined, they will methodically do their job to gain yards and move the chains in this first drive.
That's right, and we will see Matthew McCain snapping the ball. He pretty much acts as a quarterback because it is a direct snap offense, and that snap is so crucial to the success of this offense.
Well, and you can't say enough about that because you are so right there. The smarts that center has to have to know where he's snapping it is critically important. All right, looks like Gaines Drew down the sideline.
Gaines Drew, what a run.
I tell you what, Trey Vincent, who is one of the fastest kids in this grade, tracked him down. But what an unbelievable first drive. I couldn't tell if that was a 14 power or that was a sweep, but he got up that sideline quickly, and Trey Vincent saved an easy touchdown. Interesting start for both sides, huh?
Very, very interesting. Very physical, and two really big plays from line of scrimmage start this game out. That's what we hope we would see tonight. And here comes Wills to the right.
Really physical, really physical. A gang of Seahawks tackle him right there. I can't say enough about him. He's new to the league this year, moved in, but man, has he done such a great job. I had an opportunity to talk with the coaches before the game, and Coach Grant mentioned to me just how impressed he's been with Wills Norton. Just an unbelievable little player, and super excited to have him moving forward with these boys into the 7th through 12th grade.
I'm telling you, he's like you said, he's new to the league and didn't know what we were going to get. He is quite the speedster. There's the wedge, as we were talking about. Is that Norton again?
Looked like it was Norton. Holding that ball very physically, running the wedge straight up.
That will get them a first down. That was just a standard pounding up the middle. The Vikings have been doing that all year. They get that defense guessing up the middle, and then, again, they'll bounce it just like Norton took it 2 plays ago.
Well, and you can see Wills. He's shaking off a little injury maybe to that wrist right there. This is a super physical game with a lot of tackling. That was a tough 1 yard.
There's Gaines Drew again. Great tackle by the Seahawks.
Unbelievable.
That was Rushton Doster at the linebacker position for the Seahawks.
You know, I've been really impressed with him this year. He does a really good job of filling holes as a linebacker and creating havoc.
Yeah, his coaches even mentioned that he is one of the more physical in the league. And that is one of my favorite players, Hayes Wendell. That is a wonderful run by Hayes Wendell off the left tackle. This is going to be an offensive game right here, and this is what we were looking for.
Well, one of the things I'm most impressed with Hayes is he is one of the grittiest, hard-working kids I know. He would run through a brick wall for his team and just does an outstanding job. He is extremely disciplined, super coachable, according to Coach Grant and Coach Bowers, and just does a great job of doing what they tell him to do to help his offense, and he is a true team player.
Pound for pound, one of the grittiest players in the league, according to his coaches.
These extra points really do matter in these games.
And that's Norton around the right end. no good.
I can't even tell you how important it is that Trey Vincent just made that tackle. If you make an extra point here and another team does not, you can literally go up by more than a touchdown, and it makes it difficult to get behind the numbers in this league because touchdowns are not easy to come by. And I want to recognize Trey on two things. One, he eliminated the touchdown to start with, gave his defense an opportunity to do their job and try and stop them. Even though the Vikings scored there, he's the one that made the hit right there to eliminate them from going up by a point.
Well, Trey, I think he might be most improved player. He's not played the last 2 years and came out this year and has really showed that he is going to be a force to be reckoned with in the 7th grade. And there he is. Speaking of, Trey Vincent around the left end for a gain of 20 yards.
Wills Norton did an outstanding job right there being able to tackle him. I know it was deep, but just to be able to get back to that play, he was playing safety and stopped Trey right there. That was a tough tackle, but did a really good job to eliminate a potential touchdown right there. It does look like to me, and sometimes this happens in these big games, Wills Norton is nursing that right wrist right there. Since he took that wedge play about 4 or 5 plays ago, he's been kind of nursing that. So we'll have to watch that throughout the game.
That's Hoffbauer to, who was that carried?
It was Rivers.
Rivers Young.
Yep, just a direct handoff. Rivers done just such a good job. Something interesting about Rivers is explosive. Not only can he run around end, and I've seen it over the last several years, he's willing to get his nose up in there and go full speed. I want you to also watch today, number 20, linebacker. He's going to be right there in the play. I just talked about him. I'm glad I did. That's Richard Estes, or excuse me, David Estes, rather. My apologies. David Estes, he's done really a good job at the linebacker position, did a good job tackling Caden right there and preventing appreciable yards. And that's what you need in this league. In 6th grade, you need linebackers that are not afraid to fill holes, and he's done a great job doing that all year long.
Well said, well said. And that is, everybody on the Vikings team is defensively sound, but especially those linebackers.
All right, brings up a big 3rd down right here. See what they got in their bag.
That's Hoffbauer up the middle. He got the 1st down, gain of 6. What a run.
You know what? Topper Lacey misses that tackle, and guess what? That's a touchdown. Instead, Topper handles contain, forces Caden to cut the ball up, and is able to get him by the shoestrings and tackle him. What an outstanding job by Topper right there.
You know, the interesting thing about Caden, he has been in the Super Bowl every year and has not walked away with a victory.
He is a very, very smart player and a really fast player. Does
here comes Vincent. Job. Fighting for every yard, gain of 4.
Dometicus on the tackle right there. I want to give a shout out to Iron City. His dad's sponsoring, his dad's company sponsoring. Really appreciate what Iron City's done to be able to put this broadcast together. But Drake with an outstanding tackle there, and of course Topper Lacey's in that thing too. Again, we hadn't talked about Drake yet, but man, is he a force to be reckoned with. If you watch this game carefully, what you will see is Drake switching sides left and right based on the coach decisions at that defensive end, because he's so aggressive on the defensive end position that he can shut down that side.
And not only on defense but offense, they're so versatile on offense. And there's Rivers Young for a 1st down, gain of another 5 or 6 yards. Tough run there by Rivers. Great blocking so far in the Seahawks.
Oh, no question. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but Rivers just doing an outstanding job getting his nose up in there in that play. But let's also talk about, kids like Hooker Cook, who created that block right there to be able to get up the middle. But for that block and tackling down on that defensive guard, that play doesn't get any yards. So these guys are doing a really, really good job. Also want to shout out to Tate Davis, too, who did a great job on that play.
There goes Hoffbauer for a touchdown right around the left end.
Let me tell you something I was impressed with. If you watch that play carefully, Crawford Eubanks' block on the defensive end is ultimately what stretched that play out and allowed Caden to get around the end to go score that thing. So a really, really nice block by big number 80 right there.
And these tight ends, league-wide are so important on, these offensive schemes because a lot of times we are trying to get to the sidelines on these breakout plays. And if we don't have that tight end block. So Porter Perry and Crawford Eubanks on the Seahawks have been doing an excellent job all year on making that hook block. Hoffbauer, fake to Trey Vincent. Hoffbauer takes it around the left. Extra point is good.
Well, Gaines Drew did a good job of riding that play down, but got caught up in traffic, or he may have been able to make that tackle, but aggressively was doing his job to try and get there. Just a little step behind because he got caught up in a little traffic. One of the things we have not talked about yet is the commissioners for these various teams. This league is made up of a commissioner for each team that helps select these teams, and we've got an overall commissioner, Josh Mandel. But down on the field today as commissioners are Rance Perry, who's done an outstanding job for the Seahawks, and Chris Cooper for the Vikings. But the whole group of commissioners, including Josh Mandel, who's led us for the last 6 years, has done a great job. And the wedge is up the middle right there.
That's right. These commissioners come in week after week and just take their time to really better this program, and we really appreciate it. Now, Rance is more of a moral supporter. He was strapped on a helmet, but it wasn't to play football. So Rance has done a great job, though.
Sure has. He'll enjoy that one. That's a good comment. I like that. I see him over there on the just watching this game.
Here comes Wendell around the left end, fighting for every yard, first down.
Really nice job right there. Rivers being able to get out in that tackle and had some help from Rushton Doster as well as it looked like maybe Thomas Langley in on that play right there too from the safety position.
Yeah, and great lead block by Drake Dominicus.
You'll notice this formation of the Vikings. It's interesting. You see Drake directly behind the offensive guard there. You've got a wing back in Wills Norton, and then you got the two backs. You really don't know where the ball's being snapped. There's a great example of it right there if you saw that. With Hayes Wendell getting the ball, it takes a minute for the defenders to assess where the ball is, so they're on their heels, gives them an opportunity to get upfield.
But, you've been watching it for quite some time, and, it really takes a professional to even see where the ball is being snapped, much less know where he's going to be running to. So it is a very, very hard offense to defend. As you can see, they're undefeated this year. Here comes Gaines Drew around the right, fighting a gain of 4 yards. Is that going to be a first down, Josh?
It's going to be a little short, it looks like. Caden was able to come up with that tackle, it looked like, at the very end to push them to third down, but boy, is it close. And we're wrapping down with about 18 seconds left to go in this first quarter. These kids are going to need a blow because this has been a very aggressively played first quarter.
Direct snap to
Look like Drake Dominicus.
Drake Dominicus, that's right.
All right, that's going to wrap up that first quarter. I did not expect, I have to tell you, I did not expect this much scoring this early in this game. As good as these defenses have been, what do you equate that to?
Well, you look at it, 2 minutes into the first quarter, we had 2 touchdowns on the board. And it's really just the high-powered offense that on both sides is the Vikings, kind of the brute, just let's form the wedge and try to run it down their throat. And then the Seahawks, they've established themselves as kind of a speedy offense, and that's what we saw the first quarter.
Well, I'm expecting a fabulous game. I started us as I brought us in to the broadcast today that I was just so excited to be a part of this because I knew this was going to be such a good game, and it has not disappointed so far. 14-6 at the end of the first quarter. The Seahawks are in the lead, but the Vikings are marching, and these extra points we talked about earlier are super important. Right now, an 8-point margin, so they're going to have to score and go for 2 if they're able to get in the end zone.
Drake Dominicus up the middle. That's that wedge formation that we're talking about. He is really figured out how to run the ball and just kind of rely on his blockers.
Well, and you can't say enough about Tate Davis, number 59, and Hooker Cook right there, too, being involved in blowing that wedge up. That is a very difficult thing to blow up. There are some rules that play into this, like you cannot engage the center until he engages you. So there are some things that help the wedge really be beneficial.
Wills Norton, good carry, but a better
How about Porter Perry right there?
better tackle by Porter Perry.
You know, one of the things about Porter that's so interesting, he's been in multiple Super Bowls, and it's because I think one of the best things he's able to do is use his length to his advantage. He rode that play out with his long arms extended and knocked the blocking back to be able to make that play right there. Super impressed with his defense this year.
And, you know, I don't think we've seen this defensively from the Seahawks this year, but Porter is typically at the defensive end. They've got him out at a corner.
That is a big hit right there, number 44, Russian Doster. That's a super important stop there because these are the type plays, about 4th and 4, 4th and 5, that put the Vikings at a bit, if you will, of a disadvantage between whether they run their wedge play or they run their sweeps or their dive plays. And so this is a tough decision, I know, for Coach Grant right here. I would look for them potentially to try and draw someone off sides.
Direct snap to Drake Dominicus. I believe he's got the first down.
He may be short, Coach.
Really?
It's going to be really close right here.
Goodness.
And that is one of the things I was mentioning to you. Looks like they're going to measure. That's a great example. One of the things I was mentioning is that really puts the Vikings at a disadvantage. Not that Coach Grant and Coach Bowers don't have play calls for those. Those absolutely do. But that wedge is about a 3 to 5 yard carry a lot of times. And sometimes if it's short, it comes up and can cause this type of issue here.
Well, you just don't see many defenses stopping them 4th and short. It's just, you know, if they're drawing them off sides or just running it up the gut. But that is a first down.
Wow.
Barely.
I tell you what, that's also a very important first down to keep the sticks moving. One of the most important things you can do in the 6th grade is be able to consistently move the chains, keep the clock running, and do your job without turnovers. Big first down right there.
That was a huge first down. And this has been a long drive to where the first 2 drives were very short, breaking those long. Here comes Hayes Wendell off the left tackle. Gain of 9 yards.
Henry McKenzie in on that tackle right there. Really prevented that from being a touchdown. Great job. Looked like coming from the corner position right there. Caden was probably involved in that too because it looked like he was at the bottom of the pile, so I'm sure he was in there. But really nice job by Henry McKenzie right there, doing an outstanding job at that corner position.
Yeah, interestingly enough, they have moved Caden to the right defensive end. And what's your take on that? What does that give them the advantage to do?
Speed. I think that a lot of these teams have moved their fastest players to the defensive end position this year pretty consistently to be able to get around the edge and create some havoc, forcing everything inside. You know what? The teams have learned how to take advantage of that aggressiveness and that speed and be able to run around them if they don't contain. So that's the play on and off, the yin and yang, if you will, about why you'd have somebody with speed at the defensive end position. It can backfire against you, too, if you're not careful when you put an aggressive kid out there.
That's right. That brings up 2nd down and 4. Little misdirection, and who was that up the middle?
It looked like it was Dometicus, but they sniffed it out. The Seahawks sniffed it out immediately. It looked like Porter Perry was involved in that tackle, as well as a host of Seahawks smelled that out. We're back to about a 3rd and 4. We'll see what happens here. This is going to be really interesting. These are interesting plays for the Vikings offense. I would suspect you're going to see a little wedge right here. They did reverse the lineup. If you look to the left-hand side, they go strong to the left here.
That's Hayes Wendell taking the direct snap. And who is that on that tackle? That
like
Rushton Doster.
Yeah, did a really good job right there. And here we go. This is one of these critical moments in this game. Early on, still first half, but this is a really important drive to put some points up on the board.
And we just have not seen the Vikings at a 4th and short scenario very often this season, just because they move the chains so regularly. Uh-oh, there's a fumble, ball on the ground. And that will be Seahawks ball going the other way, Josh.
Yeah, well, you know, in Wills Norton, I know he's probably upset right there, but man, that was tough. He took a big hit, was able to bounce and look like he was about to score, and just lost handle on the ball. And that's unfortunate, but you know what? This is a very long game. They're going to be just fine. Outstanding little drive they put together, though, to get inside the 10, but what a great, great stop by the Seahawks right there, making this just an incredible game.
It really is. That was a huge defensive stand on the Seahawks' behalf. It was we don't see the Vikings being stopped, especially in the red zone, very often.
I have not seen today yet the pass that goes to big number 11, their tight end, Porter Perry. I suspect we're going to see that at some point today and be ready for it. Right there, it looked like David Estes with an incredible tackle right there. Mechanically looked outstanding. Good leverage, good wrap, and pulled down the runner.
Yeah, Hoffbauer off the left tackle, and once he gets past that line, he's really hard to tackle in the open field. So that was a very good tackle.
I've been really impressed all year with the coaches being able to give the offenses the autonomy in the huddle once they call a play in to really work with one another to get up to the line of scrimmage. They've done a great job with calling the plays in this year in this league.
Jet sweep with Trey Vincent. Here he comes, Josh. He is gone.
Nobody's going to catch him. You know, he made an incredible cutback at the very end right there on Hayes Wendell, and I feel for Hayes because he's such a gritty, hard-working kid. He got caught up thinking he was going to catch him on speed, and when the cutback came, it was tough for Hayes to plant that foot and get back. But, man, he was the closest and made the best effort you could have made right there. Really at a disadvantage defensively when you got a kid running at you at full speed to try and figure out where he's going to go. But, boy, Trey Vincent with a huge run right there.
Well, that jet sweep is made to hit the sideline, and, you know, the vision of a running back, you really cannot teach that. And for him to have the vision to cut that up, back up in the middle, really spectacular on Trey's behalf.
All right, let's put this in context, Brad. When you look at this is not a position the Vikings have been in all year. Down 20-6 right now. We're going to really find out a lot about those Vikings this next drive.
Well, you mentioned that pass to Porter Perry. I thought they would run that on that. And that was Trey taking a direct snap up the middle. The extra point is good.
That was just a massive, massive hit by Topper Lacey right there on Trey Vincent. But, boy, what a run by Trey Vincent. And to finish it off with the conversion right there, 2-point conversion. So, you know, we're going to find out a lot about the Vikings right now. You got 4 minutes, 8 seconds to go to the half. Down 22-6. They got a lot of fight left in them. And I suspect that they will methodically milk this 4 minutes with a drive. Let's see how it goes.
Well, this says a lot about, you know, the character of the team and when they really have to reach down deep and really put something together here. But they really need to respond. That's Gaines Drew. And that is Trey Vincent with the sack. Trey is just having a spectacular game.
Talk about a coming and out party for the Super Bowl. Wow, some proud moms and dads and grandparents. What a great, great job right there. He has made the last 3 plays in a row, offensively and defensively. They have moved him over to that defensive end position. It looks like they may have moved Porter out to the cornerback position.
Well, Trey, again, I can't say he's just a great kid. He's very easy to coach, and he's going to be a great player.
What a play.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, that was Topper Lacey with the incomplete pass. He had a lot of green in front of him.
I tell you what, right there, that was a heck of a throw. Heck of a throw. Looked like it was Gaines Drew throwing it.
Gaines Drew.
Yeah. Topper was covered, but he had a step or two and had an opportunity right there, and unfortunately just didn't happen. But it's a long game. We're not even in a halftime yet.
That's
They're going
right.
to be just fine.
Topper will get that back, I would imagine.
The interesting thing, as you well know, with a child this age, and I do too, one of the most important things you can do with your kids is teach them in adverse moments like this to be able to maintain their composure and be willing to do their job.
There's Hayes Wendell breaking one. And Josh, he is gone. Caden Hoffbauer coming in from behind. Are they going to give it to him? He might be a yard short. What a terrific run by Hayes Wendell.
This just goes to show you, Brad, how quickly this game can turn around. He was caught from behind on the one incredible run play by Hayes Wendell. Gritty player, just doing his job, maintaining his composure, and doing what he's supposed to. If you saw the blocking out there on the left side, that was unbelievable right there. What a great play call. A sweep to the left side. That's not something you see in the Vikings arsenal all that much.
That's right. And even a better tackle by Hoffbauer, just coming from behind, not giving up on the play. And that puts it in for the Vikings. Who was that on that carry?
Number 5, big number 5, Drake Dometicus. Want to thank his dad again for helping sponsor with Iron City. What an incredible facility. If you hadn't been there, you need to go there, even if you're eating lunch, eating dinner, or you're going to one of their concerts or one of their events. We really appreciate Iron City and Steve Dometicus for their impact and role on helping us do this broadcast throughout the day for all grades, 3rd through 6th grade. Just can't speak highly enough about Iron City. But, boy, let's get back to this game. What an incredible touchdown and rebound right there.
And I'll tell you that they responded like they needed to. They really need this extra point. That's Wendell around the left end. Caden Hoffbauer at the right defensive end on the tackle.
They switched and altered sides to the strong left side, which is not normally what you see by the Vikings. It was pretty clearly sniffed out by Caden right there to get through that they were running sweep to that side. Still a really good play call. You want to get the edge there, give your players an opportunity to get in when you're trying to go for 2 right there. You can see how these points matter, though. 22-12, that's a 10-point game, which is a 2-score game still.
That's right.
And sometimes it just comes down to extra points.
And the extra points are like you said in the first quarter. A lot of people kind of look over the extra points, and they are so very important in winning football games. Hoffbauer off the right tackle.
What a great block right there by Porter Perry. Outstanding. That sprung Caden for about 5-6 yards. One of the things that Coach Grant mentioned to me in preparation for the game when I did my interview with him, Brad, was, to point out they really miss from a leadership perspective, but also from a defensive perspective, Boyd Cooper. And, boy, what a player that kid is.
Man, you talk about just a bruiser of a lineman. He's probably definitely one of the top 2 or 3 linemen in the grade, if not the top. And just really a team leader. And you can't teach the leadership of these kids, but he's a very vocal leader. You see him on the sidelines trying to keep his team in it, and he's just a great kid.
He's dressed out number 56 tonight down on the sideline there, closest to us. And Coach Grant made a big point to me. We'll let this play out here.
Here comes Caden around the left end. Flag on the play.
Looked like Hayes Wendell had a good tackle to knock him out of bounds right there. Just going back to the Boyd Cooper thing, I wanted to mention one more thing, and that is one of the things Coach Grant mentioned to me was the loss being on the field as a leader has been replaced by what he's done on the sideline. And he's been such a leader on the sideline, which will tell you everything you need to know about the Coopers. He is an all-in Mountain Brook kid. Whether he's in the game or not, he's going to be there to help.
That's right.
All right, this is a big play here. Minute 38 to go, up by 10 points. You don't want to make a mistake here. At the same time,
that's going to be offsides.
We didn't really talk about the last play. Do you think that play was set for Porter coming off? He had jumped off sides the play before. I wonder if he was just a little too eager or they were running that play to start with.
Well, Caden took the snap, kind of rolled out with a 3-step drop and looked like he was looking for his big tight end, and it just wasn't there. But also a pretty good run by Caden and making something out of a busted play.
easy to get amped up and jump off sides. That happens in this league a lot from kids. Unfortunately, they just had 2 in a row there. Interesting formation. They roll trips out, spread the field, try and extend the linebackers out, and then Caden up the middle. That's an interesting play call. It almost worked.
Yeah.
But it was sniffed out right there by Big Henry Short, as well as I think Caskey was involved in that tackle.
That's Hoffbauer off the right, waiting on, very patient, still on his feet. Here it comes, Josh. This is how he beats you. This is it. What a run by Caden Hoffbauer.
Yeah, you know, when you've got fast, quick, agile backs like Caden, you cannot give them multiple opportunities to get upfield. And that's exactly what happened right there. There were a lot of people that had an opportunity to wrap him and just could not pull him down right there. And when he switches misdirection and turns that extra gear on, it's tough to stop him.
Let's talk about his patience on that run. You know, he waited on his blockers. If it wasn't there, he waited on the play to develop, stayed on his feet, and then broke it to the left. Backside, that was spectacular. He's so fun to watch run the football.
Oh, there's no question. I think you're going to see him running the football in years to come. Caden is just an outstanding player, hard worker, also a track star in Mountain Brook, and just a really speedy kid that works for what he gets. He's not one of those kids that just naturally wants to tell you he's got talent. He shows it to you on the field, which is a great sign of a young man. All right, this is going to be interesting here. Looks like they're going to go for 1, which makes sense given the 16-point margin. But as you can imagine, this is an important extra point here. You score this and you go up 17, it's a 3-score difference. You miss this right here, and it's a potential 2-touchdown difference margin.
Huge play, and Don Gamble knows this. Rivers Young up the middle. Extra point is good. Wow.
Topper was there and had an opportunity to make the hit, but he was a couple yards too deep. It looked like maybe coming from that cornerback position and wasn't able to get there in time, but did a good job to try and make the play right there. But Rivers running hard through those tackles.
So we got 46 seconds left in the second quarter, Josh. What do we do right here if you're the Vikings coach?
Well, I think the Vikings coaches are going to be wise right here. I do not expect them to try and get a home run play here. I think they're probably going to run sweep and run some 14 power to just pound and ground and get ready for the second half. But we'll see. We'll see. They do change their formation there.
That's Drake Dominicus. Oh.
All right,
wow.
So let me tell you how that play developed, okay? That was a fake wedge. Wendell comes on a misdirection handoff throw that time. I couldn't tell if it was going to Topper Lacey or who it was going to. It may have been going to Wills Norton, but it almost worked.
It did. He was there. Just had a little pressure in the backfield that kind of blew it up. This is a direct snap to Hayes Wendell. Great tackle. Great penetration by the defensive line.
Well, you know, Crawford Eubanks involved in that tackle right there. He's coming out right now to take a blow before halftime, but what a great job of getting involved in that tackle.
So this will probably, we will get one more snap off and then go to the half. Direct snap to Gaines Drew off the right end. What a hit.
Good tackle right there.
Trey Vinson.
Heck of a first half. You know, before we go to, we're not quite there to half, talk just for a minute about, for people that are watching this video or here in the stands tonight that have not seen these Guardians on top of the helmets, talk a little bit about that, because as one of our main commissioners, I know you were involved in kind of the decision-making to wear these in games and practices.
Yeah, these Guardian covers, basically we adopted those in the league this year, and, you know, the parents were obviously kind of worried about, you know, the concussion protocol start of the season, and the Guardian covers are basically mechanism that wraps around the helmet, and it's a proven instrument to help the concussions. I am not aware of any concussions we've had in the league this year, practice or game. So I think that really answers our question.
Yeah, and I think you probably still can get them, but you know what? They wear them 7th through 12th grade here at the high school, and I think it really is a good thing.
And this is Wendell to Gaines Drew, and it was there. Just a little bit deep.
You know, when you had 2.4 seconds, it was willing to take a shot right there. Not a bad throw at all, and not a bad decision to try and get there. The Vikings are going to have to regroup at halftime, though. We are here at halftime with an outstanding game with a lot more offense than we were probably expecting. We've got the Seahawks leading 29 over the Vikings to 12. Something tells me this second half is going to be incredible. I hope you folks will stick around with us as we go to halftime and watch the halftime festivities.
We'd like to now introduce our Spartan cheerleaders for today. Helen Lang, Stella Sanford, Pierce Sanford, May Gillespie, Julianne Gillespie, Francis Gary, Francis Taylor, Caroline Jones, Mackenzie Summers, Curran Quinn, Olivia Short, Lily Walo, Rushton Robinson, Eleanor Devil, Ireland Grace Young, Elizabeth Anderson, Lily Sullivan, and Ann Alex Parkman. There you go. Of course. Thank you to our Spartan cheerleaders.
All right, we're back to the Super Bowl second half. I expect this to be an outstanding second half. We got the Vikings getting the ball first, and we'll see if they can make some of these adjustments that are needed. What do you see as the keys to this second half, other than the obvious ones related to score, for the Vikings to be able to get appreciable yards?
Well, it's really just doing what they've done all year, Josh. They've got to start wrapping up and bringing the Caden and Trey down in the backfield. They've had 2 or 3 opportunities that led to touchdowns, and they had them down, but they just didn't finish it. And I think that's going to be a key to not let them put any more points on the board.
You know, one of the things that was interesting in that first half is I felt like they got away from the wedge a little bit. The wedge has been such a successful play throughout the year. I expect a healthy dose of the wedge. Even down these 3 scores here, I expect a healthy dose of the wedge in this second half to try and get themselves back in there. I do believe that the poise of Coach Grant and Coach Bowers will really be beneficial in this second half to be able to make sure these guys understand. I'm sure they were preaching it at halftime. This is a long game. You're still going to get 4 or 5 potential possessions here. And so you got to take advantage of every single one of them. Then you got to get a couple stops to get back in this game.
This is definitely a marathon game, and you've got to kind of work through adversity to win a Super Bowl. And this, I think you'll see the Vikings coming out and showing that they can do that.
Hey, it goes unmentioned a lot, but a special shout-out to Heather Young, team mom for the Seahawks, as well as Paige Drew and Mandy Cooper, team moms for the Vikings. The run-through signs, the team parties, the organizations of the door signs, the balloons, the things that they do to help these programs doesn't go mentioned very often, but I want to make sure we mention that because we really appreciate all the moms for all these teams that are involved.
Well, these run-through signs look like something out of high school, and it really says a lot of how much effort they put into it. We really appreciate it.
All right, we crank the second half up. Let's see where they go.
Vikings get the ball. That's Norton around the right. Here we go. Guys, this is going to be a very, very exciting half.
Yeah, Rivers on a tackle there with Caden did an outstanding job. It looked like Matthew McCain had a block on the backside linebacker on that play, which is super important coming from that center position.
Here we go again, right. Here comes Wills Norton, staying inbounds for another 2 or 3 yards.
Did you see that tiptoe at the end?
I did.
I like that. I like that. Hey, look, for a small back dad, that's big time right there. That's good stuff, boy. Good job right there. Hey, boy, they come out with 2 aggressive plays.
And really running it down the right side there. That's the middle. That's Demeticus up the middle. Here comes the wedge.
That goes to show you what that wedge can do. Boy, can it be devastating. That is 6 yards on that wedge play after 2 really nice right sweep plays. Looked like one was a sweep and maybe one was a 14 power just well blocked that busted outside.
And Douglas, Coach Grant knows exactly what to do, when to do with this offense. He knows it so well. That's Wendell for a gain of probably back to the line of scrimmage.
Matthew McCain on a good block right there to be able to bounce that wedge just a little bit.
Hayes Wendell with a pick up for 2 yards. First down, Vikings.
All right, this sets up an interesting first down here to get moving. Got to move these chains.
Wills Norton for a gain of 1 off the right end. Brings up second down.
Trey Vincent, very, very good job right there. All right, we'll see with second down right here. Boy, they sputtered a little bit the last 2 plays, but they split Drake out to the left-hand side as a wingback. Interesting formation. What a big block right there.
Big block.
Woo! Look at that move. Outstanding job right there. Looked like tackler was Thomas Langley to prevent that touchdown on about the 2.5-yard line. But boy, they split Drake out to pound down on that defensive end to get around the edge. That just shows you the coaching of what they saw and the adjustments they had to make at halftime. Outstanding job by Drake on that block right there.
Drake Dominicus up the middle for a touchdown. And Josh, this is the start of a long roll of touchdowns, I believe. I think we're going to see another offensive game that is just going to be trading blow for blow.
All right, so it looks like Coach Grant and Coach Bowers recognize that going for one is probably the right call right here, and it looks like that's exactly what they're going to do. I want you to watch, too, on the play before the touchdown. I want you to look at Par Rich, 19, and the job he is doing defending and blocking every single play.
Paul Rich, pound for pound, has got the biggest heart, I think, in the league, and he has just done an outstanding job. His coach kind of brought me to the side of the game before the game and said, you know, we really have enjoyed coaching Paul this year.
Goodness gracious, he's done a great job. You see him in every play finding someone trying to do his job for his team. Really impressed with big number 19 right there. Sometimes big stuff comes in little packages, and you know what? That's a little package that'll give you 150% for his team.
Well, let me tell you something. He's not the only one out there on that field. It's Henry McKenzie, number 1 for the Seahawks. You talk about a kid with a bunch of heart. He really enjoys football. And that's Rivers Young up the middle for a gain of 1.
Henry Short with that tackle right there. Just outstanding. Henry is a really nicely sized body in that inside guard position defensively. Almost in kind of it's a defensive guard, but almost like in a nose guard position. And boy, can he bring it. When he gets in there, he plugs those holes. Did a great job right there. Outstanding.
Yeah, the coaches said Henry came to the Vikings raw, and he's leaving with a newfound love for the game. So that's what it's all about. Here's Trey Vincent breaking free, out into the open. Can he break it?
Wills Norton with a tackle right there. That saved that touchdown right there.
It sure did. Down to the 18-yard line. I thought he might have had broken that one out, but what a run by Trey Vincent.
Hey, let's talk just for a second. It may not show it because it was a long run, but Aiden Caskey on that play did an outstanding job at the defensive end position. Here's why. He maintained, contain, and forced Trey not to be able to sweep outside and have to cut back in, which put him into traffic. Now, they missed a couple tackles, but boy, did Aiden do a great job. He's played incredible defensive end this year.
Hoffbauer off the left tackle for a gain of 2.
So funny, we just talked about Aiden Caskey. He forced Hoffbauer in on that, wrapped him initially to slow him down, and was a contributing part of that tackle among the whole host of Vikings that come in there and make the tackle. It looks like they're running this ball to the left quite a bit here. Could be intentional or may just be a little trend that we've seen. Let's see how that develops. You got both Aiden and Drake switching sides at time at the defensive end position, and boy, the defensive end position is really important when you've got good runners.
Yeah, I think Coach Ogilvy on the Seahawks has been very instrumental in the success of their offense this year, and he runs a play for a purpose, and it's typically the next play that you'll see that kind of come in. Hoffbauer to Trey Vincent, wonderful defense by the Vikings there.
Gaines Drew with an outstanding tackle on what would be described as a counterplay. Caden received it, handed it off underneath on a counter, a little misdirection, and boy, is misdirection important in this grade. If you can get some misdirection, you keep those linebackers and those defensive ends on their heels, and you can get an advantage if you can get the runner to the second level with an advantage in that respect.
That's right, and you know that goes back to the Vikings offense. You know, a lot of times you don't know where the ball is going, but you have the misdirection on top of that. It's very successful. Caden up the middle for a gain of 8. I'll tell you, that was spectacular blocking up the middle by Hooker Cook, Tate Davis, and then you had
Wills Norton with a tackle right there, number 23. You know, interesting there. That was what we talked about when we came back in, kind of what were the keys. One of the keys is that the Vikings are going to have to do kind of what they've been doing all year and get some stops. That was a moment right there. 3rd and 8. You got to stop the Seahawks right there, and instead the Seahawks blocked that well, had a huge hole. You could have driven a bus through that thing, and boy, did they get some appreciable yards and move those chains. That was a really critical play. Trey
Vincent for a gain of 2, bring up 2nd down, 2nd and goal.
Nothing real complicated about that play. That was a direct under center take, and then ultimately through the 3-hole. Blocked with the defensive guard. Looked like trying to attack that linebacker to open that hole up.
So it's going to be interesting to see if they continue to pound up the middle or if they try to break some of that speed out on the end. And I'll tell you, these centers have done a magnificent job. Travis Pankey, Matthew McCain. We have not seen near a bad snap tonight.
Well, and watch Hooker Cook. I mean, he has been blocking his rear off all game.
And there's a touchdown, Caden Hoffbauer.
Guess where that ball went? Right where Hooker Cook was. And the reason that got there is because Hooker blew the defensive guard inward, opening that hole up for a touchdown. Outstanding job by him.
And Hooker is just a very passionate lineman that is going to be fun to watch for years to come. It appears that the Seahawks have chosen to go for one.
Yeah, they can increase this margin, it looks like, by 17 with this, which would make it a 3-score game. So we'll see what they do right here. Let's see what they dial up. I suspect we're going to see something in the shotgun.
Hoffbauer receiving the snap. Lead block by Trey Vinson. Extra point is good.
All right, so we talked a little bit at the very beginning of this game about the importance of these extra points and how they can play into the game. The Seahawks have done a good job on extra points tonight that makes this now a 3-point score, given the fact that it's a 17-point margin with just 2:16 to go in the third quarter. It's closing the options for the Vikings down. They've got to have 3 really good sustained drives here moving forward, and then they got to get a couple stops, Brad.
It's controlling the chains and controlling the clock.
All right, it's interesting little, interesting right here. Got number 7 splitting out, Hayes Wendell.
Wills Norton around the right end, still on his feet, still going.
All right, we talked about grittiness. Did you see the block Hayes Wendell just put on that kid?
I did.
Oh,
He's he is such a gritty player.
Oh my goodness! They split him out and basically said, "We're giving the ball to Wills. Do a job for us and go block this guy." And you know what? I've noticed a lot in the league this year. Some of the accomplished running backs have actually been used a lot as blocking backs because they know how to block, and that's going to really benefit them moving forward into 7th grade.
That's
that was
right.
a good example of it.
Up the middle, Drake Dominicus.
He's a load to handle right
He
there.
is. Up that middle with the wedge is deadly. And that's going to bring another first down.
So what do you think? They get, other than this, maybe 2 more possessions? They're probably going to have to score on all of them.
I think they're going to have to capitalize on every possession they have now.
Yeah, and turnovers can play a role in these games. Will be interesting to see whether or not we have any turnovers. We've had 1 turnover that we recovered in the first half. The Vikings were able to get back on it, but so far it's been a pretty cleanly played game. In addition to that, we hadn't had a lot of flags.
No, well, probably 3 penalties, I think, which is very good on both sides of the football. Direct snap to Hayes Wendell up the middle, and that will bring another first down. Now they're pounding it, Josh. Do you think we continue to see pounding up the middle or just kind of a versatile offense like we've seen all year?
I think we're going to see a versatile offense, and here's why. I think what makes their offense great is there is enough adjustment to run sweep, power plays, pass plays in order to and there's a good example of it. They go directly into sweep to the left-hand side with Wendell for the touchdown right there. Huge play as opposed to just keep pounding that wedge.
Wow, and Drake Dominicus on that lead block, really wrapping that cornerback, putting him out of the play. It was that's what made that touchdown possible.
Now a 2-touchdown margin, regardless of what happens with the extra point right here. The officials don't get a lot of credit ever in games, but as a commissioner, I know that you've been impressed with the officials and the job that they've done this year for our league.
And I tell you, they are steady. For the most part, all the calls have been right. Here comes one of the first pass plays. It's going to be an interception, but they're going to rule it dead. But getting back to the officiating, these guys come out here and they do just a great job, not only calling the game, but with the kids. And we just really appreciate their time and what they do.
I want to highlight on that play, as we were talking about the officials, Porter Perry with an outstanding defensive play from the defensive end position. He backed up into coverage, batted that ball down. Rivers actually intercepted it. But one of the rules in our league is if you receive the ball in a two-point conversion, you cannot run it to the other end of the field. So that's why they blew it dead there. All right, you're going to need a couple stops here if you're a Vikings fan to try and get yourself back in this game. They're there. They've just got to get there. They got to score 2 more touchdowns right here.
Hoffbauer to Rivers Young. A little slip. Bring him back maybe a yard short to the line of scrimmage. Will bring up 2nd down.
I want to talk about for a minute Coach Yeager and the entire varsity staff who allows our boys to use this facility. One of the things I think makes this grade and just all this entire league so special is we have buy-in from our varsity coaches and from our varsity itself to be able to use their facility for practice, to be able to use the facility for the Super Bowl. I mean, look at us. We're up here right now in the box, which is pretty nice, by the way, calling this game, and we want to thank them for the involvement and just for their effort to keep this program alive. There were a lot of people, Brad, that talked about the fact that tackle football, if we weren't careful, could die in Mountain Brook, and boy, has it come back so strongly with these Guardians, with the buy-in from the varsity program over the last 3, 4, 5 years, and boy, this is just such a great experience for these kids.
Well, Coach Yeager's not only a great football coach, but he's a coach of these boys for life, and really making these young men, the kind of people that we want them to be as parents. We'll come back to that in just a little bit. Hoffbauer around the left end, out of bounds, a gain of 3 to bring up 3rd down. And this is
getting a little chippy.
This is the Vikings defense that we are used to seeing here.
Yep.
This will be a big stand, and what you mentioned is capitalizing on these possessions, and that's what they're going to have to do, but they've got to get the ball back.
Yeah, just one last word about Coach Yeager's group. We've been so appreciative. They wrote a great article in Village Living this year that was had some great quotes from Coach Yeager. He actually got down here during tryouts in the first couple practices to get involved to help on tackling. I mean, you're not going to find that from a varsity coach every day. Pretty impressive how involved he is in the program, and not just Coach Yeager, but all the varsity coaches. So thank you to those guys for even letting us be here today.
Hoffbauer taking the snap, rolls out to his left, looking for the hole, and that will bring up 4th and about 4, I believe.
I expect them to consider punting here. It is a possibility. We'll see. The way that the Vikings have been driving it, what you may see is them run the clock down and then call a timeout and make that judgment call, but we'll see. It almost looked like maybe that was a broken play. I couldn't quite tell it. Caden wrapped around as a naked bootleg, but it looked like he expected maybe a little misdirection on a fake handoff coming the other direction the first go-around. It was hard to tell, but anyways, the Vikings sniffed it out.
Okay, well, maybe we're seeing the Seahawks trying to, timeout.
Yeah, so we're going to see this is a critical play right here. I expect the Vikings are going to have an opportunity the way that they run the clock down a lot with their offense. They may have a couple series left, and so this is a really big stop right here. If they were able to stop him and get a punt and potentially get some movement offensively to put some pressure on the Seahawks.
Yeah, but going back to Coach Yeager, we can't say enough. We're out here in the combine when it's 110-degree heat, and out here in Spartan Field, and Coach Yeager takes the time to get the varsity players to basically come out and be around our boys and basically show them what the program is going to be like when they reach the high school level.
Agreed. Hey, I want to give a shout-out to Dave Caskey down here to the left in the Vikings outfit. We may be able to get him in just a minute. He is all in as a Viking. His son, Aiden, of course, on the team, playing outstanding today. Looks like they are going to punt. So what we talked about a little while ago. They're going to rely on defense. We may be able to get Dave Caskey in there, waving that Vikings flag, just doing a great job. That's an all-in dad. I love it. And Aiden's had such a great season here and just done such a great job. And proud of him as a football player. He's going to be a heck of a seventh-grade football player moving forward.
Yeah, and it's going to be so much fun watching these guys. They've been competing for the last 4 or 5 years, and watching them come together as one team. I can't wait for those days to really see what kind of team we can put together with all these kids. Drake Dominicus up the middle behind the wedge.
You noticed that wedge, too. There's misdirection. You saw Porter Perry getting out there to try and cover Wills Norton, thinking he may have the ball. Really difficult for them to pick up. The key here is that, you don't need a turnover, and you want to limit penalties as much as you can to be able to move the ball. There's still plenty of time with 8 minutes to go, but they've got to have a successful drive right here.
That's right. But you look at Travis Pankey, number 10 for the Seahawks. They got him on that tackle right there. And he has done a great job trying to just fight his way to the ball handler.
Well, not only that, but, let's look at Matthew McCain. Not one bad snap the entire day, and he's literally snapping to 4 or 5 separate backs. Unbelievable job.
And like I said, he's pretty much the quarterback because he's got the duty to put that ball in the ball runner's hands time after time and does a magnificent job of delivering.
Vikings doing a really good job right here, shaking it up between wedge. All right, let's see if they run the same play they did before. They split Hayes out. Is he going to block Porter Perry and run sweep to the right, or are we going to see a speed sweep? Let's see.
Here we go. Hayes Wendell blocking Porter Perry. Wills Norton, we've got a flag on the play. I imagine there's going to be a hold out there on the right.
Yeah, they're either going to give a hold to Hayes Wendell. He did a really good job, but Porter also did a good job of getting free. Looked like Hayes either caught him in the back or maybe just held him a little bit. Really close call there. We can't always agree with the refs on every call, but they do such a good job. Tough call right there to stop the drive, but they still got first down with over 7 minutes to go. Let's see what they can put together here.
Yeah, Shoal Creek Chris is not going to be happy about that.
That's a fair point.
And here comes the wedge. Gain of 2 yards. Bring up second down back to the original line of scrimmage.
Looks like Rivers Young delivered the end blow there. We got some subs coming in, number 75 and number 80. Hooker Cook, as well as Crawford Eubanks coming in to give a breather.
Hayes Wendell direct snap, taking it to the left. Trying to hit the sideline. Great coverage by the Seahawks.
That really was an athletic play by number 7, Hayes, because Rivers did a good job of keeping contained. Hayes had a stutter step that forced Rivers upfield a little bit, and he was able to exploit that and get a couple extra yards. But you know what? They're in a tough spot right here. Here's that 3rd and 6 we talked about earlier with the Vikings offense. I suspect you may see a little wedge here and a wedge again. We'll see.
Well, they've got the formation to the wedge. And here we go. Gain of 1 will bring up 4th and 3. This is the 3rd 4th and 3 that we've had, and we'll see what kind of guts the Vikings really have.
You never like to say it's the play of the game, but let me tell you something. This is a really important component to the play of the game because if they get this and keep this drive alive, they got an opportunity and a shot to score. If they're not able to get this first down right here, it's going to be really difficult.
Direct snap to Wills Norton around the right. And I believe he's got it. I think that's going to be a first down.
That was a really good spot right there, I'll tell you that. It looked like he could have been short, but boy, did they give him a good spot. We won't tell him we got instant replay up here, right?
Well, that's why Chris likes to play golf with the refs.
That's it. That's it. All right, here we go. Drive is still alive.
First pass we've seen to Topper Lacey, a gain of probably 10 yards. And now they're going to be pulling out all the stops, I believe, Josh.
For 10 yards and a first down.
What a great play right there. Nice throw by Hayes. Nice job by Topper. They got to get in this end zone and then get a stop and use their timeouts. Boy, Drake runs hard. Boy, Drake runs hard. See him put his nose down like that? Goodness.
And look at his feet. They never stop. They just continue to just chop.
Once again, want to really point out how impressed we are with the dynamic offense run by these Vikings. They're inside, they're outside, they're passing, they're doing wedge. They're doing a great job. The Seahawks need a stop right here.
Direct snap to Hayes Wendell. That's going to be a first down.
I'll be honest with you, I'm not quite sure what that was. It looked like he was almost trying to get back into the wedge after he was out. If he had busted it outside, he may have been able to get there, but they got the first down.
Yeah, I think he was actually outside the wedge on that.
Yeah, it looked like it.
All right, that'll bring up second down. I would imagine that was Dominicus. Second and goal from the 2.
They need to get this thing in here. There are 3 minutes and 29 seconds to go if they're going to keep this game alive. Not going to happen with the wedge.
Goodness.
They may have to get the ball outside right here. Third down. You may even see a timeout right here. We'll see. Nope, looks like they're going to move the ball. Here we go. They got 2 downs to get 1.5 yards.
This is a big down here.
It's a bread and butter play, 14 power down to about the
6-inch mark, it looks like.
Maybe even closer than that. Yeah, you're about right. You're about right. All right, here it is.
Guys, this is it.
All right, looked like Coach Grant called 1. I suspect it's going to be 14 power.
They got it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves a game here.
All right, so let's put this into perspective. We got 31-36 at this stage. The extra points are really irrelevant. The Vikings will have to get a stop with 2 minutes, 33 seconds to go. It looks like they've got their 3 timeouts. And it looks like with the game clock, the Seahawks are going to need 1, potentially 2 first downs to win this thing. So it's going to be a heck of a finish here.
Hayes Wendell around the left end, and he's in. 1 point.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable game. I tell you what, this goes to show a lot about the grit of the Vikings and what Coach Grant and Coach Bowers did at halftime to get these kids back into it. A lot of kids would have quit. Not those that are on the Vikings.
No, they do a magnificent job of making sure their team is prepared every game, but certainly for this one, they've had about a week to prepare, and they certainly are not going to let their team quit.
Here's where the timeouts matter. You got 3 timeouts, 2:33 to go, down by 4 points, and we'll see. It looks like the Seahawks are going to need 1, maybe 2 first downs.
Hoffbauer off the left tackle, gain of 4 yards.
The strategic nature of the use of these timeouts is this. If they get enough yards on first down where it looks like they're going to be able to convert to another first down, a lot of times what you'll see is them not use their timeouts and get to the next yard marker to use the timeouts. Here, looks like Coach Grant made a decision immediately to call timeout after what appears to be about a 4-yard gain, leaving it 2nd and 4. But you know what? This really is what this game comes down to. If they get, it looks like it may just be 1 first down. If they get 1 first down, this clock runs. Boy, can't say enough about the Seahawks and the game they played today. What a great game to be a part of.
It is. It really is. And I think the most important thing right now for the Seahawks, not only to get the first down, but also control the ball and not put it on the ground. Trey Vincent looking for room, and here we go. We're cutting it back. Hayes Wendell with a gutsy play, misses the tackle, and he is down to the 20-yard line.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to let that clock run. It'll stop at 2 minutes and then crank right back up with the 2-minute warning.
All right, they're stopping the clock now.
I could be wrong here, but I think the way this works is they'll crank the clock back up, even though it stopped the 2-minute warning. I may be wrong on that. Looks like it's holding at 1:56. They haven't started it yet.
And Josh, what a gutsy run by Trey Benson. He continues to just impress me. His running ability, his vision. He's going down the left side and cuts it back because there's nothing there. And
it stays in bounds, by the way. Keep that clock running.
Direct snap to Hoffbauer. Off the left.
That's going to be a first down.
That's going to be the first down they're looking for.
Yeah, I think there's probably one more timeout for the Vikings. Looks like it may be. Yeah, they're going to call that a first down. I think with the timing, that is going to be really close to the ball game. What a game.
What a game.
32-36 right now, sports fans. 1:35 to go, and the clock is running. The Vikings have stormed back into this and made this a heck of a game, but the Seahawks have done a great job of moving the chains when it mattered here at the end.
Caden Hoffbauer off the left end, and he's going to slide to keep the clock running, move the chains once again.
Around left end, pick up of about 15 yards.
Shows you the acumen that young man, Caden Hoffbauer, plays with to understand the importance of not taking a hit to potentially fumble, not going out of bounds to stop the clock, but to get the first down and keep the clock running.
Yes, sir. He's got a football mind, and it's very apparent when, a kid this age does a heads-up play like that.
There was a moment in the national championship game in 2013. I wish Trey Mason would have done that, and maybe Auburn would have won that national championship.
And that will do it, ladies and gentlemen.
Looks like the Vikings did have one more timeout.
They did have a timeout. They called it.
That's not going to change anything.
Right.
Second down. This clock's going to run as soon as they snap this next one.
30 seconds left. Vikings call a timeout. I would imagine they would give it to Hoffbauer again to kneel it and take it to the house.
If I know Coach Grant and Coach Bowers, the message there was finish the game with class. That is the message, and that is a message that Mountain Brook Sports is all about.
That's right.
You may not can control the outcome at the end, but you can control your attitude.
And what a game, Josh. I mean, it is, we knew we'd see an offensive game today, but this beat all expectations, in my opinion.
Well, I did not expect this much offense. You ended up with 4 touchdowns to 4 touchdowns, or let's see, I guess 5 touchdowns to 5 touchdowns, right? I'd have to go back and think through it. But anyways, 32-36 as the clock runs down, and the Seahawks do something that I think people thought was not going to happen. And they did it with heart and grit and hard work and running the whole season. Super impressive result. What a game for some of these guys. Just an outstanding performance.
And there you see the rightful celebration of the Seahawks, and just really happy for those guys. But the Vikings need to hold their head up high just to go undefeated in a regular season and make it to a Super Bowl is a huge accomplishment. So just really, really enjoyed watching that competition.
Well, I think that's going to do it for us here up in the box. It has been a great pleasure to be a part of this game with Brad Avery. A game that I will not soon forget, and I know none of these young men will. And I hope the message moving forward, as our boys all move to the 7th grade, I hope the message for those that see and have watched this year is that Mountain Brook football is alive. Mountain Brook football is well. It is safe, and people need to be playing over the coming years to make this great sport even better for our boys as they move forward into the next chapter of their football career.
Well said, Josh. And that, as they come together as a team, I think we're going to field a very competitive team, but just some really great kids that we can watch, kind of transition into, being young men and with Coach Yeager's leadership, just the kind of young men that we want to raise and just kind of lock arms with him. So Mountain Brook program is alive and well, and we look forward to seeing what this group of young men can do.
All right, that's it from us here at Spartan Arena. Thank you, NBA, for an incredible season. Thank you to the Vikings and the Seahawks for an incredible game. And thank you, Brad Avery, for an outstanding broadcast. I've loved it. The final here is 32-36, the Seahawks with the victory as they get their trophies. Signing out.